Welcome back to the House of Legends, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, and in today's episode, we have an amazing, beautiful woman. If you are watching this via YouTube, you can tell that. If you only listen to us, you will feel her energy. Her name is Taya. She is a somatic mentor, and I think it's more than a mentor. She's a guide. She's a woman who's actually helped us to close the gap and allow us to get into our body and feeling really, really good at whatever we are here to perform, from workouts to a customer body when it comes to making a change on that. And also when it comes to business, one of the things that I was sharing with Taya before press record is that her life work is more than a work, it's a movement. She has an amazing uh, somatic mastery that she called femme embodiment revolutionary. But I think that is not a somatic mastery. I think that is a movement, a new paradigm shift. And with that being said, Taya, if you can introduce yourself and we can dive in.
Mm. Thank you, Graciela, for having me and for this beautiful introduction and the conversation we had just before we started recording. I'm already, I feel, I want to so much know so much more about you. So, but I'm very honored to be able to, to be here. And thank you for having me on your beautiful podcast. And what you're saying moves me very much because it's always since the work that I'm doing now and that I have further developed into somatic mastery has really awakened me, has changed my life. And um, it's always been a calling to really bring it back to especially women, because through our bodies we have a slightly different um, connection to that type of calling. You just said to help women to really be in the best possible version, beyond the mindset. And that starts really when we are able to tap into all the different intelligences, as in um, really our intuition, our instincts, our innate power to give birth, to really open this channel so wildly, so to be so connected to this life force energy, that life uh, flow as an energy, that we can do so much more than we were always told that we can. And it shows in your story. You have created magic in your business, and I see it with all the women. And predominantly I work with women that who are already so impactful and successful and have already really made big decisions and have taken risks. And so when this comes together with connecting back to that deeper, pure, raw place of that, yeah, that that essence that we're born with, that exact life force, feminine flow that was there before the trauma and before the conditioning and before the identity. You shared with me, like, you moved to the United States at an age where you already had an identity, and yet you come into a whole new place and you start a whole new life and you learn new rules. And through the body we can always navigate and be connected to our essence and be guided. Be guided from where does this energy want to go to. And use all the different intelligences accordingly. So that was an introduction of me, uh, sharing what I love most. But to make it short, I'm Taya. I live on Ibiza, the beautiful island in Spain, with my family, with my wonderful soul partner, Till, who's also a coach, an amazing leadership coach, and my beautiful son, who is 12 now, who is becoming a great athlete and footballer and very passionate about that. And so that's a little bit about me. Um, Happy to be here.
I love some of, I want to highlight some of the points that you mentioned right here, because when we start doing this work, or when we see, before we start seeing, doing this work, when we see amazing women doing, like you said, amazing things, and like everything seems to flow, like everything's just working out, and the way that they show up, and the confidence, their energy that is so grounded. We think that it's just like, well, it's just them, right? Is we don't, sometimes we don't even identify ourselves, because like you mentioned 3 points that are really important when it comes to that. We don't even identify ourselves. We see, because we have an identity that is so contracted, we have so much condition, or we went through trauma. I think that is one of the things that mark a lot, and sometimes, or even our mind, we don't even remember those moments, because those moments were so traumatic itself, to use this word, the word again, that it found a way, the body found a way to choose to, the mind found a way to choose to hide it. I will say not erase it, because those marks are still in the body, and if we don't do the work, they will show up in one way or another. I have to mention something, Ty, as well, and I think maybe you have some of the clients, or like you said, high achievers, that we don't even know about those things. Like I was sharing with you that after releasing those 90 pounds, I was just like, well, like it was working, I was doing my thing. But in 2016, something happened. I started like my identity was kind of in between. Like I was kind of overeating and all those things. And I didn't know about somatics, but I was like, well, this is with the mind. I have to go with someone. So I went and with a holistic practitioner, and he was doing hypnosis, and he also did a regression on me, and with acknowledged that I was sexual abuse at 4. And in a moment, I it came like a I don't know, like a river, like a of like I felt just like how I felt the cigarette, the smells, the wine, all those things. The images came really really fast, and it was just like a thing that I didn't have idea that it was there. So, and I did have to work through that as well. But my body was able to remember even the smell, the sensation after years.
Mm,
And I think that it has not to be trauma. It goes beyond the physical abuse, but it could go from. And let's bring an example of the having clients, and maybe someone of the, maybe a client is coming with a request, and you don't know how to handle, and it could be like a traumatic experience for both, and then you're not trusting the next client, or vice versa. So there's so many things. But another big component that you mentioned is your or intuitions. For many years, I think in my case, I was not even able to understand what was intuition. What I mean, I was like, yeah, intuition is like a sixth sense. I didn't even know that, because
mm,
we're so disconnected. And
mhm,
I think like remarking again, the work that you do is just amazing, because
mm,
there's so much condition. We don't know who we are, and we can move through life. I call it, we can push through life until we can't.
mm.
Our body is,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I still find it extremely beautiful and brave of you to share your experience about your trauma. And in fact, very, very many people, not only women, I've worked also with a lot of men, and I do enjoy working with men, it's just I
Yeah.
enjoy working with women even more. So that's why I made the choice. But yeah, in fact, the deeper you go in through that, yeah, somatic channel, almost everyone has some kind of childhood abuse.
Yeah.
And often these people become high achievers, because we already like
We're-
survived something, and we're gonna keep going, and we don't want to give up finding that thing that was closed in us, maybe, in that moment of trauma and shock. We tend to close something, keep, bury something, and close a certain connection, as you said. I wasn't connected. I couldn't feel my intuition. Something was split up maybe from you. And actually, it's very, I wouldn't say easy because it does take a lot of courage, but it's so doable to retrace that back through the body. And it's not so scary as you imagine it to be. The mind makes everything more scary, right? However, all of these high achieving women, they apparently, as you said, they have it all. They just do the thing. They have this amazing life, but often it comes from the doing and going forward, and there is a part missing, and there is more like a feeling that you're not fully aligned, or yeah, I hit the glass ceiling, or I sit in the golden cage. I have it all, but I don't feel it. And that's often a sign that actually all of this wasn't achieved from a deeper alignment to your core, but yeah, from like a power, from a drive that was coming from the survival or the shock, you know? And
So
I'm
true.
not saying it has nothing to do with your essence, or if you're listening to this right now, because yeah, it's not as black as white. But what I do know is that often women come to me and they have it all, and they run big companies, and they're often multimillionaires. But then when they dig deeper, wow, something opens and suddenly everything changes. Yeah. And they remember again, not only the trauma that closed them, but and often it is indeed trauma from 3 years old, 2 years old, when really your mind cannot remember at all. Yeah. So that's a different story, because after you, even when you're 4 years old, your mind can still remember it, but maybe you've repressed it and you don't have that memory accessible, right? But even if you're 1 or 2 years old and your mind, you're not even able to think that way or perceive, your body will still remember. Yeah. But the story doesn't matter. But what matters is that you allow to open again to that essence, where that instinct, yeah, this really core knowing that this is right for me, this is wrong, yes or no. Yeah. And another example is that often these high achieving women might not be fully fulfilled in their relationship, because either they might have picked a safe partner, but it's not the real man woman fulfillment, and either they might turn out to be the boss in the family, or the other way around, that they maybe chose somebody who's very narcissistic and cannot really see them. These are typical cases, at least that I see often. And in that moment, that deeper connection opens again. Whoa, they can again trust themselves. Yeah. Because in the first 2 minutes we meet a man, we kind of already know what's going to happen. Yeah. We just know, as women, deep inside, when we're really open and connected, we know where this is going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you touched this point and in relationships, because like you said, we know, we can feel if that partner is gonna be right for us, but so many times we override that, because one of the second thing that it comes to play is that we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves, or we've been told, and this is the condition as well, that in kick-ins, we've been told that we are not able to make the right decisions, or maybe another thing as well that I did a lot of work, and I know many of the listeners could relate, is that maybe we are coming from a background that is not that pretty. For the longest, I was hiding what I was sharing with you before press record. I was like, no, I don't want no one to know nothing about nothing, because how I was able to, like, I want to look perfect. I don't want no one to know about my bad decisions about this partnership, and how I was treated, and all those things. And those things were showing up in the way that I was making decisions, in the way that I was pricing things, because I didn't feel like I was good enough, or I was worthy. And when I started doing this work, I realized that that was just part of the condition, that back then I did my best. And there's nothing to do, there's nothing to go back to fix. Instead, embracing every single part and integrating the things that I was hiding. And that gave me so much, not only peace, but also power to move through life without any shame, without any feeling of like I'm less than, or I want to hide this, because I was living under a lot of pressure in that sense as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and sharing your story, it's just so beautiful and inspiring so for so many women. Yeah. And we often need to repeat again also where I come from, there was a lot of for example, my dad was very deeply depressed and he committed suicide when I was 20. A lot of almost all my family died from different illnesses and addictions. My mom died quite early. And there was so much in the family that actually would, it would be natural to pull me down with that conditioning. And luckily, I had always this connection and was maybe also a different generation. And always since I was 3, I had kind of this intuition. It was just like as if I would have two consciousness, right? The real one, and then where I would, be very psychic and see through things. And then the other one where I would play this role of the conditioning to get love and respect and fit in, right? And then when we love to tell these stories, of breakthroughs, and when I had my burnout, and when I, was down on the floor and picked myself up again. But then also I want to speak about the stories when we actually shifted.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
moment when I actually met the man who was a match and who wanted the same things as me and who wouldn't take my emotional bullshit anymore. And we could actually grow and make decisions. And the way I was giving birth and trusted my intuition, it was the most beautiful awakening moment when I did give birth like this. And then when we left my home country, Germany, and decided to go to Ibiza and live the life that, all of this was only possible because of reconnecting to that core, this intuition, and knowing what is it that deep inside I really, really want. Yeah, that we were born with these innate desires. And when we can actually access them again, um, we can follow that energy flow. And we have guidance all of the time. Yeah. And those stories I feel equally important to celebrate. Yeah, not only the success and yes, abundance, business, we love it, but it's really those moments when we feel, oh my God, now everything falls into place. Yeah, the inside and the outside, it comes together.
Yeah, I I really loved this point that you're bringing in, because sometimes we either we can of course it's amazing to acknowledge our background or experiences or wisdom, but I think those are acting as that experiences that we can extract the wisdom that we can now utilize the codes to move through life. And one of the things that I do acknowledge, not only on my personal experience, but also with clients, that so many times we get so trapped on the past. Like, I was back then, I was this, I was this, and we don't tell the new story. Or like you said, when I met my new partner, and I then we have a beautiful boy, and then we buy our beautiful house in Ibiza. So we don't look for the what was next. So, and I think bringing that is the most important part. It's one of the most important parts, because yes, there could be, like I mentioned before, experiences and all that, but what's next? What are you
Mm-hmm.
gonna do with the things that you went through? How you wanna alchemize that, and how it's gonna turn out, like you mentioned.
Wow, exactly. And that just you so get it. What's most important for me is this deep dive through the body and really using that stuck trauma energy, transforming it, but using it to literally simultaneously transform it into allowing this innate desire. And then strategically really using it to take action and make our lives better. Yeah, but it's a whole full circle work, whereas sometimes somatic coaching or somatic work stays in a certain phase of healing, whereas I would like to say the most, or I love to see complete healing, and complete healing starts when we are in this new life. Yeah, that's that when it's there, when we have really created for ourselves what we are meant to have. Yeah, and every phase is valuable. Every phase of this healing or self evolving, and yet I always want to the past and the present and the future need to dance together. Yeah, that we use the stuck energy of the past to become present in the now, but using it to flow and allow to go into and create that future. Yeah, in our business, in our impact, in the connection to ourselves, in the family and partnership. Yeah, I always call this the three spirals of feminine embodiment, because as our body is so open and our energy wants to flow so strongly, yeah, from the earth, so connected to the earth and the planet. These three spirals are constantly moving and dancing together. Yeah, and in this way I always say it's somatic flow and not balance that I'm aiming at. That yeah, but like, for example, women might come to me because they're at a crossroads in their business. They got it all, but like they've grown out of their business and they don't understand. But then often when they change this, the two other areas will simultaneously change, and they become a whole new person, creating a whole new life. And the awakening gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we can literally see things that we weren't able to see before. And these doors of possibility open again and again and again. And it so well for yourself, because you went through many of these doors, right? You shared
Oh my
before
gosh,
how you would attract all these, in the
man.
form of people, opportunities, and you know and you would go through that door, and
Yeah.
that's what matters. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the part where you mentioned integration, because we can have the tools, but it feels right in the moment, but we don't utilize the tools, we're only going to feel good. And at the final of the day, we want to utilize the tools, we want to integrate those and start changing our life. And sometimes we don't even have to do much. By you becoming, and sounds kind of cheesy, but really, you attract the situations. You see someone online, you read that book, you hear a conversation, something clicks, and that gives you the idea that opens the door. It has, and you don't have to know the how. Sometimes when I speak with clients, it's like, how it's like sometimes you don't know you don't know the how will be presented to you when you're ready to receive it, because sometimes we're not fully ready, we are in the rush of doing things, or we don't trust in fully the process. But when we surrender to the process, and this is the second part that I want to dive into, when client comes to you, what is your protocol? And I know we have different scenarios, like you mentioned, maybe someone is in a crossroads in their businesses, or someone it doesn't feel really good in her relationship, or from different rounds, I will say. But if you can just give us a general view of what is the protocol, like I said, when someone comes to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somehow, usually, because I've really worked so energetically that I feel I already have created an like an energy channel. It often feels like they know me already quite well, and they really have looked for what I have, because in this form, I guess the way I'm teaching my approach, it's not so common. Yeah, and they somehow, often what I hear is just like, I just already trust you, or I know I don't really even understand exactly what you're doing, but I know I need this. Yeah, so I already have
Oh,
connected energetically often with the clients before they even come into my Zoom call. Yeah, so there is, as you say, I don't know how, but I'm ready to jump into the unknown. Yeah, because that's exactly it. When we tap into that innate desire that was buried through trauma and conditioning, yeah, we just follow, and we literally want to go to the new. And so it's always women that already have tried in different ways to change the world, to have an impact, yeah, and positive impact, to create a better world for the children, yeah, in the widest sense. So, and with this desire, there is a sense of being a pioneer. Yeah, look around. The world is, in chaos. There is so much going on. Yeah. So a lot of people know there needs to be change, but I really feel it is through this new type of women empowerment that's fully embodied that we can tap back into this deep connection to the earth, where our babies are coming from, right, where we're creating life, to really lead literally from our pelvis, from our uterus, from our
Boom.
vagina, to really feel like this deep calling of the world needs to be life-giving. Yeah, like the desire of giving life is stronger than the desire of fear and greed and this kind of societies that we've developed. Yeah, like there needs to be a backlash, of we want a world worth living for. And we as women, we have it so deeply in, yeah, in our
Nurse.
bones. Yeah, this life giving, this protecting, giving, taking care of our children, loving. Yeah, we love to give, but we're done with overgiving. Yeah, we
We're
want
done.
to, yeah.
Yeah, yes, and I do believe that there's a delicate line between, like you said, overgiving and giving, or being sweet or kind to be someone that please others and trying to bend and trying to manipulate. I think that is a form of something that is moving, is no longer here. Because
Yeah.
if as a woman we have the best connection with ourselves, but if we're still carrying that condition of like trying to please, trying to overgive, trying to save people as well, I think that is a disservice for both. Because
Mm,
someone that is not ready fully right now in this moment to receive, it doesn't matter if you give them even the life, their cup is really small, and that doesn't mean that they will not be ready next month, next year. But it's not your our work to grab, to try hard. It's our work to do our best, like you mentioned. It's our work to do our own work, to embody, to feel. And people will find us. I really love the fact that you mentioned about, well, people find me and they don't even know fully about every single detail, but they know that I'm the mentor for Get Her. They know that their next step is with me. And I think that is the most amazing part as well
mm,
of creating this new conscious business, uh, that go beyond of a strategy. Because I think the strategy, the masculine, the structures, the systems are great. I love that, and I'm even changing so many of right now, because I want to have this structure that feels really masculine, that supports my feminine. But I know that that is only one part. The other part is me, is the connection with myself, and that is my responsibility to keep my channel, like you mentioned, clean, and do the work and what understand me in order to understand people as well. I do have a question for you as well, Tanya. When it comes to the somatic practices, what is your suggestion? And I'm talking general because every single case is different, for the woman who wants to start, when she wants to know more about somatic work. But what it will be one of the simple practices that she can start doing today? It doesn't have to be in the morning at 5 a.m. Putting yourself in no, something that she can do right now, even if she has kids, if she has a busy agenda.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I love that question. So I would always say, first make the decision to be willing to feel what you're not feeling. Yeah. And that's below your shoulders. That's deeper down in your body. And how do you access it is through the breathing, first of all. Yeah. And
Mm.
then find somebody who actually knows a direct way into it. Because I must say, I now, on the one hand, it's amazing that all of these different practices are available online and everywhere. But there is also a downside of it, that it's not about the practice. Yeah, it's about the decision, and it's about really opening up to yourself and knowing yourself, but fully embodied. Yeah, it's often I see people and then they have their morning routine and they do this and this and that, and on a deeper level nothing really changes. Yeah, it becomes more of a lifestyle, you know,
Oh,
of
yeah.
yeah, but it's really a deeper process where I would encourage you to go beyond the trauma that almost every one of us is holding. And if it's not something that you would call trauma, just for repetition, just the conditioning, the way society is, we are blocked, we are limited, and we don't even know it. Yeah, there is so much more inside of us, but it starts with the decision that you want to know, that you are curious, that you breathe and you feel, oh my God, there is this longing to find out, how can I be more alive? How can I be more myself? Yeah. And start with that. And then, you know, as we said, follow your intuition, and, you know, the right mentor, the
People.
whatever it might be for you, a retreat or somewhere where you travel, or, you know, another teacher, whatever it might be, might show up. Yeah. Or yeah, just book a call, book a call with Graciela, book a call with me, whatever, you know, follow this, what resonates in this conversation. And yeah, and open up, talk about it, you know, describe it, yeah, in real words, what is going on with you inside. Yeah, it's, and that again, there is such a movement and trend about the spiritual, and then often everything is yeah, spiritual and triggering and this and that, and it's more like words that have become a little bit empty. But it's about you. Nobody is like you. You are unique, and your way in is different from everyone else. Yeah, not everyone needs to do the same and hope to find this place. Yeah, I would always say, find somebody who really sees you, and then it's not even so important what exact method this person is using. Yeah, but that this person is aware that it's not only a mind
Yeah.
job.
I
Yeah, it's really a deeper awakening or liberation that we're looking for.
I have to say that your answer really surprised me, and I think there's so much power in the decision and the intention of the decision that sometimes we, like you mentioned, we go through life and we want to do something and we try, and I don't like the word try because just we try. And we just pick here and there and we build our morning routine, or we're doing like some meditations on something random on YouTube. And I'm not telling you, like you said, that that doesn't work, but we have to go deeper because this is gets reflected in every single area. The way that we move through life, the way that we choose our partner, everything. It's
Yeah.
mind blowing. But I really think that is so potent, the way that you give us the first thing is decide, commit to yourself. And I think the decision has to be with a powerful intention, and when we do that, I think that we are sending a signal, or we to universe, God, I'm ready to receive. And the people, circumstances, situations, even this podcast will you will have access, because before making the decision, it's not possible. It's something like, it's imagine you're deciding to go into a fitness journey, but if you're not fully committed, you're not going to attract the people. You're not in tune with that, with those plots that it will unfold once you decide.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know, in our society there is such a over psychologized, like, you know, we're over psychologized, you know, it's over analyzing all of the time, and it often feels just like it's only about feeling good all the time, only about feeling better, only about, yeah. But you know, you've made so many severe deep life changes in the last 10 years, or even, you know, that, you know, no, sometimes it really doesn't feel good to
Doesn't feel.
grow. Yeah, it comes with growing pain. It comes with a lot of fear. And it's about to learn to open up to it, and you and make it, it's a part of ourselves. It's an amazing part. It makes us deeper. Yeah. And we can learn how to transform this pain and this fear into an
Some,
energy that brings us forward. But we still need to go through it, you know. It's not about meditating and just staying up here all of the time. It goes really deep when you really want to change and become who you really are. And
yeah.
yeah, it comes with this growing pain, in my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we reach one point or another. At one point or another, we reach this point where we are willing to do with the willingness of doing whatever it takes. And when I say whatever it takes, it's not about hustle, but we whatever it takes, whatever practice, whatever mentor, whatever it is move that is required, we're willing even to go, like you said, deeper and feel. Sometimes it's not even that we're afraid to. We know that the next move is available, or maybe someone is listening to this podcast and it's like, I want to know more about Tanya, but I don't want to feel that way. I don't want the deeper fear is feeling. But once we feel, there's no more there's yeah do you are if we are ready in i don't I don't know if this word is correct for this, but if we are able to feel and confront that, and when I say confront, it's just to allow ourselves to feel whatever is there. There's no more room for fear because you already felt that. You're liberating yourself. You're not like, okay, I already went through that. I already know that I can move through that. Because sometimes like I'm really afraid of this, and you can go back and experience this and said, you know what, I'm willing to feel that. I'm willing to feel that again, and I'm willing to go deep. And it doesn't matter if you feel scared or unknown, or it's also part of it's also part of the process. And surrendering to this is one of the most beautiful ways to liberate yourself from anything, because nothing one of the things I said, that if you fear something or you're not willing to feel, that thing owns you. That thing yeah, it's like having a grab of you. But when you say, you know what, never mind, I'm just gonna go for it and feel whatever, and I'm willing, you remove yourself from there. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
yes,
Yeah.
Tanya. I
Yeah,
have to
it
say,
is. It
yeah,
is the subconscious
programming.
emotions and that energy charge that we're carrying around that actually owns us. And in this way, it's more, I would call, somatic mastery, a way of living to constantly, through your whole somatic qualities and intelligences, to yeah, make the unconscious conscious all of the time,
Mhm.
and in this way take the ownership back, or be really in the lead. I always say, like, leading from the ground up, where in our society we're taught to lead from the head alone. Yeah. But this is how we actually take our power back. Yeah. And shift our perception through this opening experience. um,
Mm. Yeah, and I think it's really important to remark, like you said, is leading from within, from this grounded state, not from just the intellectual, from the mind. Because yeah, you can move through life with that, but it's not gonna be in the extent that you really want. You don't wanna access to the all opportunities and people and situations and relationships that you really want. And for everything, like you mentioned, it's a process. It's a process. It's not only just meditations or feeling really, really good. Sometimes it sucks, feels bad. But
yeah.
yeah, through that, those run pains, is like you're going to the gym, like the resistance when you're lifting the weights, or like maybe doing yoga. The other day I was doing yoga and I was like, that is easy. I mean, it looks so, oh my God, I was dying. Of the session, I was like, how did he do it? It looks so easy when they do these positions. Oh my God, I was like, it was my first time. It was like, wow, this is a core thing. And but I was willing to do that. But it's the same thing. Uh, Not everything has to come with this easiness, or when it's a little resistance or pain. That doesn't mean that it's bad for you. Yes. It's
Yeah.
part of the thing. It's part of the whole picture, and it's perfect. I think sometimes we said, "Oh, but it's not as good as this." It's perfect because it's part of the whole thing. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Yeah, this was a beautiful podcast. I just really love it. And you gave me, like you mentioned, a whole new perspective about somatic work, really. And I think you are bringing this new movement. I call it, I guess, movement for the third time because it's a movement. It's not just a program or a way of doing things. It's a movement where you are attracting amazing women, attracting amazing people and opportunities. Because this is something, like you said, unique in the way that you deliver, in the way that you express the ideas. Um, Before we wrap up, I have two things. If you can share with us your life work, where we can find you, what is the best way to someone, and of course, we're going to put the information here on below this video and also on the platforms, but what is the best way to reach out? Is someone is listening to this podcast and she's like, I want to know more about her life work.
Yeah. Well, first of all, of course, you can find me on Instagram, Taya Somatic Leadership, and on LinkedIn if that's more your thing. I also do have a podcast. It's only on Spotify.
Love it.
You can find me there, or just really reach out through my website, ibizasomatic.com. Yeah, those that, I'm easy to find.
I
Please
love Instagram. I
feel
think.
free to message me.
Yeah, and I have to testify, she's amazing. Like I said before, I just sent her a voice memo. I you gave me this even without even know you. I was just going through your Instagram. You gave me this sense of like, I'm just gonna reach out to her, like, without any formality of let the email or the and pitch the thing and then come to my thing. I was like, I'm just gonna talk to her. I'm just gonna send her a message, like I'm talking with my best friend, and that's it. And
Oh,
I think you're bringing that aura, and that is amazing when we are looking for someone, a mentor, a coach, a guide, because when we feel that energy, even through the screen of Instagram or even here, it's something that we cannot put into words. You can put the best bio, but if something is not clicking, people will contact you. But it's not about the bio, it's the energy, and you're right, the beautiful energy. So the second part of this as well, Taya,
thank you.
I used to ask just one question, but now those are, well, two questions. What is your superpower and what is your word for 2025?
Ooh. Yeah, my superpower is really this ability to go into the deepest darkness, really the deepest darkness. And it's always been like this, like that would be revealed in people around me. But to now consciously that I know my gifts go into the deepest darkness that we all have, right back into and, transform it into the light, your gift, your soul map, and strategically creating from there that life. That's I can really say that the more I have trusted this, especially when I came to Ibiza and I really freed myself, from my home country, from expectations, identities, and I just followed this gift. This has given me the life, and this is what that gift that keeps giving. I'm going to do this until the rest of my life in some form or shape, because that's just you call it superpower, and I think we all have it. We really all were born with one, and
Mm.
yeah, I'm very grateful for it. Yeah. And my word for 25, it's I think it's really something like mm, new abundance. Yeah, as if even the word has a new meaning. I feel there is a lot opening this year, and yeah, I leave it at this.
I love it so much. I think it sounds like expansion. It sounds like, yeah, expansion, evolution. It sounds like more like, yeah, we always want to grow and bring more. I have to extend a little and on your superpower because I think as a manifestor in human design, sometimes I just felt, and I think I said twice on one of the podcasts as well, two previous podcasts, that I felt sometimes where I have this image in my mind where someone is just doing really amazing. I'm just giving the push. And right with my modest, I don't call it modest. It's not modest opinion. It's just my opinion. I think you extending your gift as well here, you make people feel really good in your presence. I have to confess, I do acknowledge the background, my experiences, but the way that you put it, I felt like you are able to recognize and to lift up and just to expand the people around you or the people or the women that are having interaction like myself. I just felt like this recognition, like, oh yeah, I did that. Yeah. Oh, that was just uh you highlighted and you put into colors that I right now, after just this conversation, I do have a new perception about myself. More like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I remember. Because the way that you put it is like you went through those things and you opened the doors and you moved through the life. And I sometimes we don't even recognize fully. And that is part of your gift. You are able to see and recognize and uplift and but do it in a way that feels really right.
Mm, thank you. Oh my God, you have no idea what else I see in you. I we'll have to have another whole conversation about this. You're only getting started, Graciela. Really, I'm very, very touched by your presence as well. And wow.
Mm. Thank
Hmm.
you so much. It was a pleasure. And we have to have podcast number two, the recording. I can feel that as well for this year. Um, but with that being said, all of you ladies have a beautiful day. We want to make sure that we want to put all the information about Taya on the description. Reach out to her. Like I said, she's amazing in her energy. You have no idea how you I forgot to mention this, and I think it's important to have it in the recording. You do it in a way that I feel like you're doing it from a place of really empowerment, meaning that not in a pedestal. Instead, you see me in a as the self-led woman that I am. You see me as another leader, makes sense because so many mentors or coaches trying to, and so many times is the perception, right? It's like trying to uplift you, but like you're below or something like that. And no, you're where I would choose to communicate in a way that feels really right. It feels like I'm talking just with my best friend, with a leader, someone that really gets me. So have to
Oh,
thank you so much, Taya. Thank you so much, all of
thank
you,
you.
and we'll see you in the next.